The Lighthouse creates memorable experiences for both you and your family. Part of that is the rich history that is covered on each of the floors of the staircase of the Lighthouse. Today we're adding to that history through a conversation with Mr. William Whalley, who, with his brother John, built the Lighthouse. Mr. Whalley's family built many fine buildings, both here and in Lancashire, England. It was both a pleasure and an honor to meet and film him.
And my whole family is nothing but construction. My grandfather, Richard James Whalley, was from England, and he learned the hard way, his apprenticeship, working with millwrights and people all his life. He studied from a book that's unbelievable. I still have that book. And he built a lot of structures in Darwin, Lancashire, England, and later migrated to this country in 1913. And then he brought my father with him, who was 9 years old at that time. And he did the hard way. He made him go to work. And he never finished high school. He learned the hard way, the long way. Yeah. And while in England, he got the contract to build what we now call the Darwin Tower in Darwin, Lancashire, England. He was the low bidder and contracted it with a lot of stone builders who traveled 25, 30 miles away every morning to build that stone structure. It's a Ottoman-shaped stone structure, same Ottoman shape as the Lighthouse. It was just a coincidence. I changed the story. We just by chance got selected to do this work, not knowing that this had a sister in England. Anyway, this was a 2-foot thick stone structure, very similar in height, very similar in stairs. The first stairs were stone, and the remaining were spiral stairs. This is the tower that my grandfather built in England for Queen Victoria's Jubilee, and also the freeing of the Moors, which is the highest hill on Beacon Hill. This point is 1,225 feet above sea level. And the biggest problem was getting water to the site. It takes about 45, almost an hour's climb from the foot of the hill to the tower, which is, you can see, some 20 miles away from there. But you can see the Ottoman shape. And this has essentially the same number of stairs, essentially the same height. It's a big coincidence. So then I got my start by wanting to get educated, because none of my family had been to college before. And I got appointed an appointment at West Point. My father did. He knew the banker. We used to build all the CNS banks. And he got me an appointment to West Point. And I flunked out on my eye test. And I knew what it was. So when everybody was going off to Georgia Tech, I decided I would go to Georgia Tech and go on the Navy program they had. It was an extension of the V-12, now called NROTC. And I got my physical, taking one of my best friends, he took the eye exam for me. And then I earned my keep because he sent me to Korea when I got my commission. I spent 2 years in Korea, a naval officer on ship, ashore, with gunfire support. I directed the fire from the big guns to shoot the enemy in Korea, particularly when the Chinese came across the Manchurian border. So I survived that. So I've been kind of exposed to construction all my life, and I got my formal training at Tech. And after the Korea and working at Thompson Hutton, I went to work in Atlanta, and at the same time I worked on my master's. Joe Fraser and the family were from Hinesville, and I was not with Whalley Construction. They did the Hinesville Elementary School and another addition down there. That's how Joe knew of us. And he also knew us from a friend of his that they hired over here, Bob McDuffie, to help manage the construction on the island farm. So Bob knew of our honesty and integrity, and Joe knew of our reputation. And he asked us to come over here and describe to me, would you like to build a fishing villa, a fishing village? He called it fishing. I said, fishing village? He says, yeah. He says, well, come on over and I'll show you what we're going to do. So this was no roads, no nothing here. We came down in a Jeep. He said, this is where we're going to build a fishing village. Would you do it for us? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, where are you going to get the help? I said, well, we'll get some help. That was the biggest problem in those days, was getting some help. And you had to bring them over yourself. Charles, he knew what he wanted. And he and Mary went on a trip down to the Caribbean, and they looked at all the lighthouses, and they came up with, this was the configuration that they wanted. That was his idea. And he conveyed that to the architects up north in Massachusetts, and to come up with this design. My brother and I, John Whalley, built the lighthouse. They always come up with Bill Whalley, and that's because I was like Charles. I was the man, you know. But my brother helped me. He retired shortly after that, and I worked for another 25 years after that. So we started that, and got the generators and started working on the foundation, waiting on the golf club house to be designed, which was more important than the lighthouse. And so we spent all our efforts 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, trying to get that golf club open for the First Heritage. We started over here. Well, it was spring, and here comes the wind. It blew, it never stopped. It must, I never had the wind blow so much, 25 knots, all the time. Wow. And so that's how we got started building the club, building that lighthouse. And it is built an unusual design. It's built on, not on pilings. It's set down deep in the ground on a 6-foot thick grade beam, octangular shape, the same as the structure. And then it's built out of 3.5-inch pipe tube steel with Nelson studs. The Nelson stud is welded, a screw head welded to the structure. That then you got 3x4 treated wood whalers that are bolted to the welded studs on the framework. Then you got the plywood attached, treated plywood attached to the 3x4 whalers. A whaler runs horizontally. The plywood runs vertically, 8 foot deep.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's. And then it's got 30-pound felt. It's a traditional stucco finish, which you have to use elastomeric coated painting at least every 4 or 5 years. This is a copy of the original drawing of the lighthouse. I didn't tell you about the stair construction. These are all built a steel frame, but all the stairs are made out of wood and landing. And there are 114 stairs, including the landing, to the top of the shop. Charles didn't like the color. Contrary to one of the latest interviews I've had, he wanted not candlestick red. He wanted a brownish red, like you've seen terracotta tile. It's
Yes.
kind of a brownish, not red. We painted that thing 4 times before we got it painted right. Harbour House B and the California Cafe, right between those two, there's an underground spring.
Really?
It comes out across, we're over here. It comes out across east of the cafe between that and the oak tree.
Really?
What did the lighthouse cost? $278,000. $278,000. We did it for a very minor fee, of course, but you had to be honest, you had to be true. It all worked out. I like to remember that we built it because of our honesty and integrity, and we were selected because of honesty and integrity. And that goes a long ways and needs to be rubbed into some of these younger people today. It's an important aspect of life. It's not the money, it's your integrity and your honesty. So we went to work with very little plans on a cost plus, on a very cheap cost plus, and it was a very successful project. But if you're honest and true to people, you will succeed, and you yourself will succeed. And my grandfather taught me that, and I would like to be everybody remember it because his grandson, he came from England and built quite an achievement. And unbeknown to us, we built an achievement.
Absolutely.
Which is now, known all over the world.